It had been a very eventful stay at Gilchrist Blue Springs so far, between the weather and the Scamp falling over. We were really looking forward to a good swimming day. Today is Thursday, and this morning almost all of our neighbors left, like right behind us. These two. Good. What are you doing? No, don't eat your leash. It's crazy how quick it cleared out. It was full the other day. Look how cute the camp host is. They have one of those retro styled campers. It's a little cool today. It's starting to warm up as the sun comes out, but today is our last full day here. So hopefully it gets warm enough to go swimming, because that is the main attraction here. But we'll see if it ends up being quiet today or if everybody's coming in tomorrow. Patrick was a little bit braver than I, so he walked down to the springs early. He wanted to get to swim, even though it was still kind of chilly out. And the water in the springs is not very warm. You can only stay in there for a little while because it is chilly since the water's coming out of the ground. But it's worth it to get in there before it gets super crowded. One of the things I wish we got to do while we were at Gilchrist Blue Springs is paddle on this amazingly clear water. A lot of people brought their kayaks and their stand-up paddle boards, and you can put them in at the spring and then you go all the way back to the right, and that joins up with the river and you can paddle over there. It's so pretty how you can see through the water with all the greenery, these beautiful vibrant greens of all the plant life underneath the water. But as Patrick was going to find out, all of that natural beauty and greenery also brings some other critters to the area. This is as far as we were able to go. They don't want you walking past that rope because on the other side they're trying to preserve the aquatic plants. If you step on them, it disturbs them and tends to kill the plants that are really important to holding the bottom in place, so you're only allowed to take flotation devices over there. You can rent a kayak, and we would have loved to have done that, but we didn't feel comfortable leaving Redford in the camper at this point.
I went down to the blue hole, went swimming, and a guy says, hey, look at that, it's a water moccasin, kind of 3 feet behind me, and about yay big. So yeah, first time doing that. Weird.
I was just thinking
I'll
maybe
take sharks and stuff before that.
Yeah, I know, because they're like sneaky.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hear them or anything.
I didn't hear him at all. He's pretty long.
I was just thinking maybe I'll go swimming when you get back, but I don't know. I'm not
done now.
Not feeling like I want to go in there now. As the sun came out, it started to get warmer. A very nice day for swimming, and we pretty much spent the day going back and forth because we wanted to soak in this one full day of good swimming weather. We would come back to the camper, warm up, do some reading, and then Pat and I would alternate, one of us going down to the springs and going swimming, but you can't stay in there too long because it is pretty chilly. It worked out well though, because the temperature was in the higher 80s today. It was one of the hotter days that we've experienced so far, and we were able to feel pretty comfortable sitting outside with the tarp for shade and getting to cool off in the springs. Inside the Scamp, we just kept the fan running to keep the air flowing, and it was pretty comfortable. But we're still thinking about getting that outdoor cooking set up because it does make a difference. When I cook inside, it heats up the Scamp pretty quickly. So if we could avoid that in the future. It's so nice out. We decided to eat outside. It's like the perfect temperature. We both got to go swimming today, and now we're having tacos. That's a pretty good day. Swimming and tacos. This is the longest trip that we've ever taken, and definitely the longest trip we've ever done with Redford. And one of the biggest challenges that we ran into was it was hard for Pat and I to do anything together because one of us always had to stay with the dog. We don't really feel comfortable leaving him in the Scamp by himself just yet. but we came up with a plan. I took Redford for several walks during the day to try to tire him out, and then Pat went down to the springs first, and then when Red was settled, I walked down and listened carefully for any barking. As I walked away slowly, Red seemed very tired and content to take a nap on the bed, so it was our first successful time getting to go swimming together. This was about 20 minutes before the springs were closing for the evening, so once again we got to enjoy a very quiet experience, which is not the normal experience in the middle of the day. That's good. Gosh, it's so much quieter now.
Yeah.
I gave the dog a bone, and he went on the bed, and I was like, this is my chance to walk away. He seemed okay. He didn't bark or anything. Yeah. No.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, is there more water at a certain time? Or?
They're definitely trying to, like, work on the erosion. They have all those barriers, so I guess if it rains a lot, the erosion probably gets pretty bad.
There's some of the pollution, too.
And then everything just gets washed into here. Probably messes it up. It's just, like, ridiculous how clear it is.
Yeah.
When you're driving around any of the areas with natural springs in Florida, you'll see a lot of signs that say, "Save our springs." People are trying hard to preserve these incredibly special areas, and things like erosion and agricultural runoff are posing a threat to these natural ecosystems, and you can see the Park Service is working hard to try to restore and preserve it. It's our last morning here. We're in the process of getting packed up. We took the tarp down. Pat's getting a shower right now because we're going to be boondocking for the next 2 nights, so no showers. And I'm actually kind of sad to leave here. The bathroom situation was a little weird just because the day that we got here, Sunday, was super busy. Like on the weekends, it's a totally different experience here. It's packed. And there's only one bathroom for the campers and for the day use area, so the bathrooms were just like insane. So that's kind of a weird thing, and there's no dump station, and there's no camp sink, which makes it so much more difficult to do dishes, especially because we're still dealing with the sewer hose issue. We have the working hose that's currently living in a trash bag, and we're gonna have to wait until we can get to either an RV store that has the longer holding tube, or when we go home, we'll just have to order one. So still kind of off with the tanks. I was just thinking, tomorrow will be a month that we've been on this trip, and I've only been able to use the sink one day. One day that we were in South Carolina, the first day that we actually unwinterized. So the fridge is doing a little bit better. It's still getting too cold overnight. It's been pretty good during the day because we're in and out, we open and close it, so it's staying right in that perfect zone, but overnight it's still going a little too cold. So we're still messing with the settings to try to figure out what is an appropriate fridge setting so it doesn't get too cold. It hasn't frozen the eggs yet. The eggs were like a little extra cold this morning, but they weren't frozen spheres, which are impossible to cook, so that's good. But yeah, just a couple of little things that we're still dealing with. Luckily the Scamp didn't fall over again. We figured out how to manage the soft sand here, that was just such a weird experience. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get the rest of the stuff inside cleaned up. We're gonna get our water for the next couple days, and then we're heading up to a harvest host for 2 days because the state parks around here on the weekends are all like really booked solid. We are pretty much ready to go. We had the gazelle outside on the ground, and that may have been a bad idea because now there's a nice family of fire ants that decided to move in. But, oh, I gotta close that window a little more. Alright, I just gotta close this one window, and then we're ready. Ready? He's like, I've been ready. There's the bathrooms and a bunch of picnic pavilions, and all the way down there is our last look at the Gilchrist Blue Springs. We have about a 45-minute drive to get to our harvest house. When I booked this harvest host stay, I was pretty much looking for anywhere with an open spot that was remotely in the area that we needed to stay in. And I found this hay farm that had good reviews, but I have to admit, I wasn't that excited about staying at a hay farm. We weren't going to get any produce or anything like the last harvest host, so I just figured it was a neat place to park. But this night, staying at the farm was actually a highlight of the trip for me.
So any place over here?
Anywhere on the right by the trees.
Okay. Should I back in or just... I could go like sideways actually.
Around.
Which way you want the door to face?
Whatever is easy.
We could even like face that way.
Yeah.
You know, have the door going that way, not towards their house.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
They got picnic tables actually over there.
Oh yeah, okay. That would be good. As soon as we got parked, we noticed how quiet and peaceful it was here. We're right next to this big open field where they do the hay and the sod, but we have the shade from these giant trees. This is a good one. And there's like a really nice breeze right now, so I don't think we're going to be too hot. But we will get solar. Red. And I bet the Starlink is probably going to work, so that's great. We're excited. We haven't had internet for, what, 5 days? This is the happiest and most relaxed I've seen Redford in quite a few weeks. He's been like running around, rolling in the grass, smelling the air. He likes it though. I think in the campground it's a lot of constant sounds that he doesn't know what they are, and it kind of weirds him out. Oh, and you got a bone. That's pretty cool. It is quiet here though.
Yeah.
This is nice. You could see Red was just soaking in this sense of freedom. He would stand by the tree and his ears would be flapping in the breeze. He would have his nose up, sniffing the air. This was the first time that he didn't have to be on a 6-foot leash and contained in a little tiny area, so he was loving the farm life. I think his favorite part of this whole trip was when we were on big open properties like this. Really? Again? Rolling? Crazy. You're a crazy farm dog. Okay. Okay, come on. Come on. Good. It was a warm and very sunny day, so we were concerned that we were going to be too hot, but the way we were parked under these giant trees, the Scamp was in the shade, and there was a constant breeze, it was absolutely perfect. The great thing is our EcoFlow is full, because we got the solar out. Pat's just moving it over because now the shade's starting to creep in. And then we'll put the Starlink up in a minute. See if we can get some internet. But I am just amazed at how beautiful and quiet it is here. Like, absolutely amazed. I think I could stare at this field all day. Some harvest hosts you can buy stuff if they have actual like farm stuff, like we got the produce at the other place, and then sometimes they'll just have a box where you can drop the money in, and that's how this place works. Good. Okay. Come on, Red. Come on. I'm gonna start making dinner. And I really want to try to use up the produce that we got from our last harvest host. We got these beautiful organic carrots. I have some of the herbs. This is oregano. I already put some of the watercress and the pea shoots and cilantro into the bowl. And then I'm going to put some of the greens with that. We got this scallion there. So I'm going to throw all that stuff in there. But when we're dry camping like this, I have to kind of think about how much water we're using. So I'm just going to use the pre-made packet of rice. That makes it easier. And then I'm going to make some chicken. And I've got the fresh herbs in the pan to cook with the chicken. So I think that's going to be pretty good. When we're dry camping, I usually keep our meals very simple, maybe one pot and not a whole lot of chopping, but I was feeling pretty inspired. The weather was so nice and it was a perfect night to sit outside and have a good meal. So I wanted to use up all of these special ingredients that we had from the other farm. And I just had to be careful with the water situation. You can see under the table, those are our gallon jugs. That's really all the water we have to work with. Okay, there we go. We got chicken and rice. I cooked the greens from the carrots because the organic farmer told me to do that. And then the carrots themselves, I was just going to throw some honey on them, but I had about a tablespoon left of the peach bourbon cardamom preserves, so I threw that on there instead. And just cooked it in the same pan because the idea is to try to use the fewest number of pans and plates and utensils so that I don't have to use as much water to clean up. And we got a big salad.
Still got solar too.
Still working?
Yeah.
Good. We're going to sit outside and soak in this beautiful weather while we enjoy our meal, and Pat is getting Redford's dinner ready. Thank you so much for joining us on this trip through northern Florida. We still have so much more to share with you from this beautiful part of the state. Make sure that you are subscribed, and we will see you in the next one.
Well, you worried about you and me, the injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again.